أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد أشرف الخلق وسيد المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم ربنا تقبل منا صيامنا وقيامنا ودعاءنا. اللهم تقبل منا رمضان. اللهم تسلمه منا كاملا غير منقوص واجبر ما كان فيه من خطأ أو خلل أو نسيان. اللهم تقبل العمل القليل وتجاوز عن الزلل الكثير. نسألك ربنا في هذه الليلة المباركة أن تكتبنا من عتقائك من النار. اللهم اعتق رقابنا من النار. اللهم اعتق رقابنا ورقاب آبائنا وأمهاتنا وإخواننا وأخواتنا وأزواجنا وذرياتنا من النار، وادخلنا الجنة مع الأبرار يا عزيز يا غفار. اللهم إنا نسألك الفرج القريب لإخواننا المستضعفين في كل مكان. اللهم أصلح حال أمة حبيبك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم في مشارق الأرض ومغاربها. فك الكرب عن كل مكروب وفك البلاء عن كل مبتلى يا رب العالمين. اللهم اختم لنا بخير أجمعين وألحقنا بالصالحين واجعلنا من ورثة جناتك جنات النعيم يا أرحم الراحمين. آمين آمين. The topic for yesterday and today has been about Sunnatullah fi at-Taghyir, Allah's divine law pertaining to change. And change is sometimes described as a natural reality, natural phenomenon in this existence. And sometimes it comes about by the doing and the decisions of people, good or bad. Now, Allah Azza wa Jal has made change a feature of this existence, of this creation, because we're all finite. We have a beginning and we have an end. He, subhanah, is al-awwal wal-akhir. He is al-baqi. Allah Azza wa Jal is never diminished by time. And one of the things that they say is characteristic of Allah Azza wa Jal is that لا يتغير. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because التغير من شأن المخلوقات. Change is of the features of created beings. And Allah Azza wa Jal is al-Khaliq, is al-Baqi. He doesn't get changed. He doesn't, get influenced by factors and variables in life. We are reactionary. I don't know what's going to happen to me tomorrow. If something good happens, it will make me happy. If something bad happens, it may make me sad or angry. I'm reactionary as a human being. I need something to happen in order for me to know how to respond to it. But Allah Azza wa Jal, His knowledge is all-encompassing. He doesn't need for events to happen in order for Him to be aware. No, His ilm is all-encompassing, subhanah. So in this sense, Allah Azza wa Jal has made a feature of things in existence that they change so that we get the picture as human beings. Hey, guess what? The status quo is impossible to remain. That's why they say, the dawamul hal min al-muhal. It is impossible for one's condition to be persistent, consistent forever. No, dawam fil jannah, right? The dawam and consistency and eternal realities. This is a reality of Jannah. إذا بس ممكن بس تصلي شوي لك بس عشان الكاميرا. Just if you can move over. جزاك الله خير. So this is a feature of dunya, that everything is always going to change in it. And I as a subject in Allah's creation will go through a range of emotions, right? Now when I'm talking about change, we go to the two verses. We've been reflecting on them yesterday and today. One of them is change that is for the positive, and the other one is about change that is for the negative. The one that we spoke about in the morning today was change for the negative. It's in Surah Al-Anfal. ذلك بأن الله لم يكن مغيرا نعمة أنعمها على قوم حتى يغيروا ما بأنفسهم. Allah Azza wa Jal won't change a blessing that He's given to a people until they change what's in themselves, meaning that they will be stripped a blessing if they become unworthy of it. If they become unworthy of this blessing, it's going to be taken away, right? Because this blessing has a haqq and has a responsibility. I have a duty towards this blessing in order for me to be given it, right? So this is Surah Al-Anfal. The one that we spoke about yesterday is in Surah Al-Ra'd. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُوا مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. Now, and that is, Allah won't change the status of a people until they change what's in themselves. So there's two functions here. There's a amal from Allah, and then there's a amal from the abd. I need to change certain things, and consequently Allah Azza wa Jal will change the circumstance that I am in, and that's how we understand it. So, this journey of change is about me changing myself and about me changing my reality too. These are the two aspects of it. Am I responsible to change the reality and the dynamics of people? The answer to this, yes, I am. And that's why the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ says, إِنَّ النَّاسَ إِذَا رَأَوُا الْمُنْكَرَ فَلَمْ يُغَيِّرُوهُ أَوْشَكَ أَنْ يَعُمَّهُمُ اللَّهُ بِعِقَابِهِ. So the hadith says, if people don't do anything to bring about change, especially when wrongdoing is happening, then Allah Azza wa Jal will punish all. Allah will allow the punishment to be general for them all. And in fact, one of the stories that we're going to read today from Surah Al-A'raf is about this. Qissat Ashab al-Sabt. There were categories of people. There was a group who saw the munkar and were silent about it. And there were those who saw the munkar and joined in it. And then there were those who saw the munkar and spoke out against it. Amr bil ma'ruf wa nahy anil munkar. And these are the only categories of people that were saved. As for the other two categories, the Prophet ﷺ said, being pious in yourself is insufficient. The hadith says, the Prophet ﷺ was asked, أَنَهْلَكُ وَفِينَ الصَّالِحُونَ? Can we possibly be ruined when we have righteous people among us? The Prophet ﷺ said, نَعَمْ إِذَا كَثُرَ الْخَبَثِ. Yes, if wickedness and wretchedness becomes dominant, then punishment still could even come then as well. Now, I as a person who's enjoying the blessings of Allah Azza wa Jal should always have in my mind that, these blessings are not for granted. And it's so easy, when ni'am becomes so plentiful, it's so easy to feel like I'm entitled to it. And I deserve it. This belongs to me, right? That's why they say from one of the wisdoms of old, they say it's one of the statements of Sayyidina Umar. He says, اخشوشنوا فإن النعم لا تدوم. Thicken your skin, strengthen yourself. Blessings don't always remain. Even though you cannot ever fathom and imagine where a blessing as simple as having clean water would ever be lost to a very privileged people like us in America, you never know. There are people, most of the world doesn't get the blessing of being able to drink clean water that's not contaminated, that doesn't have illnesses in it, right? That's why, it's one of the things I experienced when I was studying in Egypt, this idea of maya ma'daniyah. This is considered a luxury. Wow, and I was studying at Al-Azhar. If you're able to get maya ma'daniyah, that means you're someone who's well off. Why? Because the average person needs to drink from the unfiltered water. And what does Mayat al-Nil do to you? It's min anhar al-Jannah, right? Yeah, inshallah, in Jannah it'll be from anhar al-Jannah. But in the dunya, it causes hepatitis, right? It's not. There's contaminants in the water. And unfortunately, this is the reality for many of our brothers and sisters who live in our Muslim countries. These ni'am, wallahi, when we think about this verse, ثُمَّ لَتُسْأَلُنَّ يَوْمَئِذٍ عَنِ النَّعِيمِ. Like, think about alwan al-na'im that I have enjoyed as I was coming to the masjid tonight. Just think about it. These are layers of blessings. And then when our Prophet ﷺ tells Abu Bakr and Umar that you're going to be asked about the blessings when they were hungry and they found food and he made them cry. When this verse was revealed, what should we say? Had iftar, had comfort in our home, came in a relatively comfortable car, whether you have an old car or a new car, it's nothing like the muwasalat that we have back home in our countries, whether in Egypt or Pakistan or somewhere else. If you've never lived there, you cannot imagine, right? As someone who went and lived there, for people who are born and raised in this country, wallahi, we don't understand how blessed we are. Over there, people squeezed to death on buses. People climbing on the top of the buses just to get where they need to go. People needing to jump out of the bus, you think the bus is going to stop? Right? in our Muslim countries, you think the bus is going to stop when you get to the bus stop? It's your stop, not. مش عايزة تنط بلاش. You're going to keep on waiting. They're not going to stop for you. So that's the reality of it. But here in this privileged country, كل شيء لازم يجي لحدي, where everyone needs to come on time. And we could keep on talking about this for a very long. When I was in Egypt, there was a lot of students from America, from different backgrounds, and for some of us, it was a big culture shock. When you had an appointment, and the guy is on the other side of Qahira, he's like 3 hours away. وبقول لك حكون عندك بعد ربع ساعة. I'm going to be by you in 15 minutes. And the first hour passes, second hour passes, and then he comes 3 hours later, and this is what did I say? Everyone knows what ربع ساعة means. It's not like I lied to you, right? But again, privileged people, everything has to come on time for me. The internet needs to work right the way it's supposed to work. The water needs to come when it's supposed to come, right? But anyway, going back to the subject of ni'am. Look, sometimes there's an entitled people that Allah tells us about in Surah Saba. Wallahi, it's a scary thing. Wallahi, it doesn't even make sense when you read it. If you go to Surah Saba and you hear about the story of the people of Saba, لَقَدْ كَانَ لِسَبَإٍ فِي مَسْكَنِهِمْ آيَةٌ جَنَّتَانِ عَنْ يَمِينٍ وعن شمال كلوا من رزق ربكم واشكروا له بلدة طيبة ورب غفور. The people of Saba, they had it all of the na'im that their heart could desire. And Allah Azza wa Jal said, enjoy your blessings, كلوا من رزق ربكم واشكروا له, and just be grateful for these blessings you have. And then Allah Azza wa Jal said, بلدة طيبة, it's a pleasant town. You know what these people of Saba requested? What they wanted? It doesn't even make sense. They said, as the verse goes on to say, Allah Azza wa Jal goes on to tell them, وَقَدَّرْنَا فِيهَا السَّيْرِ سِيرُوا فِيهَا لَيَالِيَ وَأَيَّامًا آمِنِينَ. They had a sense of security and peace. They could travel without any hindrances. They weren't worried of anything happening on the way. Then what did they request? They said, فَقَالُوا رَبَّنَا بَاعِدْ بَيْنَ أَسْفَارِنَا وَظَلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ فَجَعَلْنَاهُمْ أَحَادِيثَ وَمَزَّقْنَاهُمْ كُلَّ مُمَزَّقٍ. If you read the translation or you read the basic tafsir of this, you can't even understand what they're asking for. They said, oh Allah, make us have to travel far distances, right? And they oppressed themselves. And so we destroyed them and we made them a reminder for people throughout time. Make our distances far, meaning that they got so bored of the blessings being right in front of them, they wanted to have to work for it. آثروا قطع المسافات لطلب النعم على ما كان بين أيديهم من نعم الله عز وجل. They didn't want it. I have it, I don't want it, right? That's what happens sometimes. When ni'am are right in front of you, I don't want what I have. I want what's over there. I don't want what's easy. I want what's something that's so difficult to get. And what happened? This ni'mah was taken away from them because of the mindset and the attitude they have. Wallahi, and then, Bani Israel, they did the same thing. The Bani Israel, they did the same thing. They got al-man wa salwa. They got food from Jannah. Who of us could wish to have food from Jannah? Right? It's not like the food of the dunya at all. Nothing you've ever even dreamed of having. Allah Azza wa Jal gave them food from Jannah. And what did they say? Nuridu, what's the verse? What does it say? عايزين البصل وعايزين الثوم فومها وعدسها وبصلها. We want adas, we want lentils, we want onions, we want the shrubs of the ground. That's what we want. Allahu Akbar. ماذا الحمق. But there's a lesson here. Sometimes arrogance blinds. Arrogance, entitlement, disease of the heart, they blind. The person can't see what he has. I have everything in my hands and I don't want it. I want something else. نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يحفظنا من ذلك وأن لا يسلب منا نعمه. اللهم آمين. اللهم احفظ لنا نعمنا. اللهم احفظ علينا النعم. اللهم احفظ علينا النعم وأعنا على شكرها والقيام بحقها يا رب العالمين. آمين آمين. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. إن شاء الله we'll have adhan.